For some reason, I keep getting cut off. I can't, for some reason, I can't keep it up. So, I'm going to start over again. And we'll take a look at this, and hopefully I will not lose Okay. Okay. Sorry, I got cut off. I don't know why I was cut off, why my stream stopped. But I'm just going to pick up and I'm going to continue, and hopefully people can jump in and see. Sorry about getting cut off there. Don't know exactly what happened. So, I know somebody was just watching and they were asking about Pensacola. Pensacola is not out of the woods, especially when it comes to storm surge, and not out of the woods yet when it comes to possible landing. I mean, right now, the general consensus on the landing, and let's go take a look at that. And I'll show you. I'll go get into my, see if I can find it. Don't have it on here, I guess. But that's all right. I can do it through radar scope. So, let me do a drawing of where the models are starting to take. Your zero Z models, and oops, here is the general trend of your zero Z models on landfall. Okay, that is your general trend of zero Z models, and what they're showing on landfall is right in this area: Gulf Coast, Gulfport, Biloxi, Pascagoula, Mobile, Daphne, Fairhope, Foley, Alabama. It's right around in the Florida-Alabama line. So that's your general consensus on where possibly be, on landfall could be. Now your GFS earlier today was more over here, and your UK model is more over here. But your general consensus of models is coming up this direction, or coming up straight north and going into Mobile Bay, Pascagoula, or Gulfport, Biloxi, Mississippi. So I know lost track there, but if you jumped on here, I think it was Jeff 47. I hope that answered your question. Right now, it's going to be Gulfport, Pascagoula, Mobile Bay, Florida, Louisiana, Florida, Alabama coastline. I don't know why I always want to say Louisiana, but that's what we're looking at right now as a general consensus among models. And once again, the National Hurricane Center has this going in right on the Mississippi-Alabama coastline. So right around Pascagoula, get a little closer in there, Bayou Le Barte. I hope I said that right. Try to put a little French on it because it sounds French. It's a bayou. It's got to be French, you know. So, right around the Mississippi-Alabama state line is where the National Hurricane Center has this going in. They have it going in as a Cat 2 at 105 miles per hour, and they have it going in Wednesday morning around 7 a.m. That is there's their view on it. So right now it is about 12:20. So you still got a day. So you got 20, almost 30 hours left out to sea for this. Anything can happen when a hurricane's out to sea. Anything can happen. And your hurricane models are showing this ramping up. Even with the ingestion of dry air, that ends, and once that ends, the HMON model and the HWRF model, which are two hurricane models, really ramps this up almost to a Category 3, mid-level Category 3. So, and that's their 0Z runs that show that. So that's their up-to-date runs that they show. So we got still got a lot out there, but we're starting to home in even tonight. Even since I started back at 8 o'clock. Even since 8 o'clock, the models are really starting to converge on that Mississippi, Alabama coastline general area. Okay. And somebody asked me if Pensacola was out of the woods yet. You're not out of the woods yet, because if you go and you take a look at the cone of uncertainty, Pensacola, it's over to Fort Walton Beach, I believe. Yeah, Pensacola over to Fort Walton Beach, Destin is still in the cone of uncertainty. So, no, Pensacola is not out of the woods yet. Absolutely not out of the woods yet. Destin's not out of the woods yet. Now, it's the far east side of the cone of uncertainty, but you're still in the cone of uncertainty. So, no, you're not out of the woods yet. You still have, in that area, you still have a chance to see something. Now, if it happens to shift a little, further east, which the UK Met model shows it actually going in more towards Fort Walton Beach. Just going to show you here. I'm going to go picture in picture. I just want to show you this is a still frame. But still in the still frame, hopefully you can see, make this out just a little bit, that, you know, the outer bands are already on shore. Foley, Alabama, it's up to Milton, Florida, Crestview, Florida. Fort Walton Beach is seeing it, Panama City's seeing it, Apalachicola is seeing it, all the way down to Tampa Bay is seeing rain already from the outer bands of Sally. So just think about it. We're talking about 30 hours more out to sea and not moving much further west than what it already is. The coastline of Florida is going to see a ton of rain. Okay, definitely going to see a ton of rain along the Florida coastline. It might not, you'll have waves of rain going maybe until, if we go and take a look at this, here it is, 7 a.m. Thursday. It would be right in the center of Alabama, north of Enterprise, but that still would be a whole bunch of rain for Florida. And then this is 7 p.m. on Thursday, and it's on the Alabama-Georgia state line. Let's see how close that is. And this is the National Hurricane Center, it says that. So right around Columbus, maybe just south of Columbus. Guess what? Still going to be raining in Florida. Still going to be raining in Florida. So, and that's just off what the National Weather Service says. I'm going to break out of this picture-in-picture and just go straight back to here. And once again, I'm going to remind, if I am helping you out in any way, or as if you're enjoying what you're seeing, you can drop me a little donation. I call it coffee money. You can drop me a little coffee money at Big Cups Fan in TX. That is my PayPal account, and I'm not too proud to beg for a little coffee money coming out of this. I enjoy what I do. I need a little fuel to keep going. All right, let's move on. Let's look at the flash flood potential. Showed this before, but I want to make sure that everybody sees it again. We are looking at a high probability from, that's probably Gulfport, Mississippi, all the way over to Panama City. Just the greatest chance of flooding. Greatest chance of flooding is going to be, flash flooding is going to be in that area. Notice Mobile's in that, Biloxi's in it, Gulfport, Mississippi's in it. Foley, Alabama's in it. Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach, Destin is in it. Milton, Crestview is in it. This goes just south of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So Camp Shelby, Wiggins, Mississippi, Lucydale, Mississippi. Basically from Highway 26 south, and let's see how far I am from Hattiesburg there. McLean could be in that also. Lucydale, I've already said, and then Mobile, part of north of Mobile, Centronel, Mount Vernon, Creola, Bay Minette. Saraland, Pritchard. All these areas I'm mentioning, you have a great possibility of flash flooding, okay? A ton of rain. We're talking about 15 to 20 inches, locally 20 inches plus. Let's see, that's going to be Atmore, Alabama, Bay Minette, Flomation. Well, I'm going to screw it up. Pollard, Flomatin, excuse me, Century, Florida, all up the Escambia River Wildlife Area. Let's see if I can see a little more. Bay Springs, McKinney, Pine Barren, Enon, all those areas, McDavid, Oak Grove. You all have the possibility of this just being absolutely torrential rain, okay? Not just 5 or 10 inches. We're talking 15, 20 inches plus. Could be in your neighborhood, and that could be from now through Friday. That is a lot of rain. I don't care where you live. 20 inches of rain over a couple of days is going to flood, absolutely flood. And then for people, let's say from Slidell all the way over to Panama City, your storm surge could be anywhere from 2 feet all the way up to 11 feet or more in localized areas, especially just east of where the storm goes in. Wherever Sally goes in, you're going to have some storm surge coming in, and this could go far inland. In Mobile Bay, if you live around Mobile Bay, you're on the beach there at Mobile Bay. You live around the bay. This water, we're talking about 6 to 10 feet of water coming into your bay. 6 to 10 feet of water coming into your bay. What happens is all that seawater funnels into the bay. Let's see, I'm just talking, let me show you. Let me get out of this so I can show you a little bit better. Let's go over to radar scope because I can draw on it. Let's go into, here's the bay. And you're talking about all this water rushing into the bay, and guess what happens? It gets into the bay and it just pulls up around Mobile and Spanish Fort and Daphne and Montrose and Fairhope. It just pulls up, and that's why it could be 6 to 10 feet inside Mobile Bay. And then what really could get hit hard, if you think about the logistics, Dauphin Island, because you'll have the surge coming in. So you have the surge coming in and going into Mobile Bay. And where does that water that pulls up in Mobile Bay have to come? Comes right back out. And that would be Dauphin Island, that little chain of islands that's out there. But Dauphin Island, I'm really, really worried about Dauphin Island. I know it has a big tourist industry. And I'm worried about it right now because it could take a direct hit, or it could be just west. It could go in just west of Dauphin Island, and then you have a whole bunch of surge going up on the island. So I'm worried about Dauphin Island right now. Not trying to scare anybody. I'm just telling you from the way it looks, this is what I'm seeing. Okay, let's get out. Let's go into Radar Omega. I want to see the latest satellite imagery. Here's the latest satellite imagery. Still looks like there's an ingestion of dry air coming in. Here's the eye. And you can tell still battling. Still battling. We'll put this in motion for 50 frames. Yeah, still dry air, and the way you can tell it's dry air is because watch right in here, keeps trying to build those storms up, and when it builds those storms up, that dry air gets in and chokes it out, tries again, chokes it out, tries again. So that dry air is just cutting off any type. You can build some storms in dry air, but it just chokes it out. After a while, it's just like having something in your gas tank. If you have a lawnmower or weed eater or something, you get dirt and debris in that gas tank. It runs, but it sputters, right? That's what's happening here. Whoops. That's what's happening at this point. Let me draw this a little bit bigger. She's trying to fire, and then something gets into it and chokes it out, and that's what's happening. She's got a little dirt in her gas tank. Is what I'm trying to say. You can tell I'm from East Texas when I say something like that. But yeah, that dry air is just coming in, and it's just wrapping around, getting into that eye, choking off any type of development. I didn't mean to get out of there because I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna take a look at. That is the infrared. I want to go in and look at the mid-level water vapor loop, and I'm going to run it for 50 frames, and I'm going to circle the dry air. See that dry air coming in right there? Dry air right here. So it's coming in and wrapping around. And fed into the system. It just chokes off anything trying to develop. And that's what's happening. It's this dry air coming in from the west, from the northwest, and coming in and wrapping around that eye. That's what's choking off the fuel. Okay? That's what's choking off the fuel to the hurricane. Let's go to low level water vapor loop. See if we see anything getting in there. Yep. See it down here wrapping around. See how it's getting ingested? Make that look better. Dry air. Dry air. Dry air. So it's just circling in around, even at the low levels, it looks like it's trying to infiltrate now. So even at the low level. Let's see here. Jeff, what about wind damage? I'm taking it Pensacola. Depends on where it goes in, Jeff. Because if it's a direct hit or just east of Pensacola, let me get my marker out for you here. So if it ended up being, let's say she's right here and she ends up doing this and this, your wind field could extend out to Pensacola. Okay, if she came in more over here towards this, the Mississippi Alabama state line, then your wind field probably wouldn't hit Pensacola. Because if we go back and we look at what the National Hurricane Center has out for wind field right now, let's look at it. Your hurricane force winds don't extend out that far. Your tropical force storm winds do, but your hurricane force winds look like it's a quarter of what that is. So, if it was to stay where it is right now, and the wind field that is, and it moves in like that, Pensacola wouldn't see tropical storm force wind, maybe a hurricane gust wind, but it all depends on where it goes in. If it goes in anywhere over here, Pensacola really doesn't have to worry about wind, it's more surge, okay? If it goes in more towards Mobile Bay, then yes, you could get hurricane force winds coming in to Pensacola. Just all depends on where this goes, where it lands. And if I look at my distant measurement, let's say from here to here, you're talking about, I'm not even looking, I can't see it because I got my finger on it there, but why is it not showing me? Hey, give me a distance. There we go. I had it on. You're only talking about 75 miles of difference, but that 75 miles of difference is all the difference in the world when you're talking about hurricane force winds. Because if the winds only extend out, the hurricane force winds only extend out 40, 45 miles, 50 miles, and this goes in, more of the line, the hurricane force winds won't reach you. So it's all that to say this. It's all about where Sally goes in at. That's the best way I can answer you, Jeff. If she doesn't go in, if she goes in more towards Mississippi, then storm surge and rainfall is what you're going to have to deal with. If she goes in more towards Mobile Bay or just east of Mobile Bay, yes, you will have hurricane force winds in Pensacola, Florida. So basically, it's a wait and see. Where does this go in at, right? That's where we're at with this storm. I want to get out of satellites. I'm going to go into radar. Take a look at the radar. Let's look out of Slidell. Looking pretty ragged. We'll go through the last 50 frames. just that almost the whole west side of that eye wall just does not look good whatsoever. I mean, look at this whole part's missing. It's all dry air getting ingested. All dry air getting ingested. Pretty amazing what a little bit of dry air can do to a tropical system. Pretty amazing. Going back to the radar, still raining in Pensacola, getting a little bit of a break at Fort Walton Beach, but Graceland Beach has a nice rain going on. Panama City has nice rain going on. Mobile Bay has some rain in it right now. Apalachicola is still raining there. I mean, it's a lot of rain falling already. Let's see. Sprinkling in Tallahassee, Cedar Keys having rain. Homasa Springs, Spring Hill. Tampa Bay, it is Tampa. It is raining all the way down to Sarasota. So, a lot of rain falling right now, and we're still talking about 30 to 36 hours out before landfall. So that's just a lot of rain. Just a lot of rain going in. In fact, I want to look at move this over towards Florida, and then what I want to look at is total storm precip so far. And I'll do my little investigation tools. So out here still, this is offshore, but offshore, just south of Pensacola, you've got 4 and 5 inches of rain, and all that is heading north. Just south of Panama City and Santa Rosa Beach, there's 5, almost 6 inches of rain that is out in the ocean. Guess where this rain's going? It's going into the shore. Okay? Let's get right into Pensacola. Let's go. You've already got an inch, a little over an inch on Gulf Beach, Pensacola Beach, about an inch and a third. Got 75 inches of 0.75 inches. Boy, that would be something, right? 0.75 inches at the military base there in Pensacola, and in downtown Pensacola, you at least got an inch already. All right. Woodlawn Beach, about an inch and a third. Fort Walton Beach, about almost an inch and a third. Destin right now, right at an inch. Downtown, the big downtown of Destin. I used to go to Destin when I was a kid. Loved Destin. That's back when Destin wasn't a town. It wasn't a city. It was a township. It had less than 4,000 people in it. Now you go to Destin, and man, has it grown. Love Destin. Love Destin to death. Just south of the country club there in Destin, you've got an inch and a quarter already. And you have there at the golf course, you got 17 mile per hour winds, gust up to 24 miles per hour. That's read by a drop zone. Over here on Seascape, you're up to, a nice little storm there, you're up to almost an inch and 3/4 of, almost 1.8 inches of rain. Tango Moore Beach, 2 inches of rain. So Sacred Heart, around Sacred Heart Hospital, 1 1/4 inch, almost 2 inches just north and east of that. So as you can tell, it's around the beaches. It's coming down. You've already seen an inch. Panama City. Let's go to Panama City Beach. About an inch and a quarter around Panama City Beach. And then spots in between, like there's 2 inches just east of Florida Beach. Laguna Beach, over here. Got 1.5 inches in Laguna Beach. West Bay, almost 2 inches. Just amazing what you're already talking. We still got 30 to 36. Well, for the rain, we've got up to 72 hours more of rain in Florida. I just want to hit this nail on the head as much as I possibly can. Even if it's not wind, your rain and your surge can still be major issues. And especially the further east you go to Florida, so Panama City, right where I'm showing right now, you could have a ton of rain. So you could have flash flooding in Panama City, Sarasota Beach, Apalachicola. You're going to have a ton of rain because you're talking about even when the system moves onshore, wherever it moves onshore at, and it's onshore for at least 24 hours, you're still getting rain in Florida, still getting rain in Alabama. So I can't stress enough, this is going to be a huge rain event for the Emerald Coast. So if you're on the Emerald Coast, just because it doesn't make landfall where you're at doesn't mean that you won't see some issues, some major issues with this hurricane. All right. Once again, I am not above asking, so I'll ask again. Hey, if this done some good for you, if you're enjoying what you're watching, if you like what you see, if you think I'm informing you, please feel free to drop a little donation. Big Cubs fan NTX, so Big Cubs fan. Yes, I am a huge Chicago Cubs fan. Big Cubs fan NTX. Go drop me a donation. I call it coffee money. So I just need some coffee to keep me going. So every little bit helps. I appreciate everybody watching this. I'm going to keep going for a little bit longer. I just want to make sure that I drop that on y'all again. Let's go look at some of these winds right now. So just south of Port Sulphur. So this is the mouth of the Mississippi River, okay? So the mouth of the Mississippi River, we have a sustained wind of 39 miles per hour. So starting to kick some winds up. Look out here. This has got to be, it's either oil rig or a buoy. This is sustained winds of 55 miles per hour, gusts to 70. And ladies and gentlemen, that is just off the mouth of the Mississippi right now. Okay. 12:15 a.m. Probably another buoy. 55 mile per hour sustained winds, 67 mile per hour gust right now. And this is, let me change this from storm precip to high res velocity. So here, let's put this in perspective for you. Here's the eye. So, and then these are buoys that are out in the ocean. Here's one on just due north. Sustained 60 mile per hour winds. That's sustained 60 mile per hour winds. And gust up to 75 miles per hour. I want you to look how close this is from the Louisiana coastline. From here to the mouth of the Mississippi is 80 miles. 80 miles. That's how close this is from impact on land. This was at 12:35 What time is it now? This was 10 minutes ago. This was a buoy, and this buoy shows 63 mile per hour sustained winds out of the east-northeast with wind gust at 75 miles per hour. So that wind gust was from the east, northeast. Okay? Just like the eye. And that's why your winds will be coming out of the east-northeast. It's this twisting. Low pressure systems go counterclockwise. High pressure systems go clockwise. A hurricane is a low pressure system. That's why the winds circulate around like this. Around that center. There's my little meteorological treat of the day. But just notice, okay, here's New Orleans. This is Canoe, so this is right on Lake Pontchartrain. Even with Canoe, right now in New Orleans, it's sustained 26 miles per hour with a 35 mile per hour gust. So even New Orleans is starting to feel this. And that's because of all this wraparound moisture, all this wraparound wind. It can be felt, you can notice. This is about the outskirts right here of the wind field. So right at the mouth of the Mississippi, already seeing tropical storm force winds at the mouth of the Mississippi right now for some of these readings. Once again, let's take a look at this one. This has got to be a buoy that's out there. 63 mile per hour winds, 75 mile per hour gusts. Already getting hurricane gusts, and that is right here. Look how close that is to the mouth of the Mississippi. 26 miles from the mouth of the Mississippi is where hurricane gusts are happening right now, just 25 miles away. See if there's any others out there that I could see. Nothing. This 0. I don't believe it. Because this one over here, this is 43 gusts to 51. So even, we'll say that wind field is going to be right around here. This is tropical storm force winds with possible hurricane gusts already at the mouth of the Mississippi. Already at the mouth of the Mississippi. Looks like Don Murray, who's part of Project Mesovort, looks like he has found his place where he is staying as of right now, which is right over here by Point Clear. He's on, isn't it amazing how close you can get? He's on County Road 32. Looks like he's going to be around Point Clear. Might be going towards the Grand Hotel Marriott Resort. Maybe. Where he's found his place. But it looks like he is on the east side. As of right now, he's on the east side of Mobile Bay. Over near Point Clear. It's where he's decided he's going to stay. I don't know where. Might have turned his off. don't know where the other project, I can't remember his name, Phelps is his last name. I don't know where he's staying. He must turn his location dinger off, but we know where Don Murray is at. So he's on the east side. For now, he's on the east side of Mobile Bay. Not a bad place to be if you want to be where a possible hurricane be coming through. I always say when in the summertime, when I used to live in East Texas, I always used to say I always to keep up where the storm chasers were, because if the storm chasers were anywhere near me, I knew it was about to get bad. Well, guess what? Same thing when it comes to hurricane chasers. If they're around where you're at, I know we always make fun of the Weather Channel, because wherever the Weather Channel shows up, you know something's about to happen. But same thing with storm chasers. They are where they show up. Where Jim Cantori is, it's about to go down, right? Same thing with hurricane chasers. When they show up, you might be thinking about leaving. Might start thinking about leaving. All right. Get some of the winds along the coast here at 20 miles per hour. And that is in Pensacola, right down on the beach of Pensacola. You have 20 mile per hour winds with 30 mile per hour gusts right now. All right. I'm just perusing around, looking at wind gust and sustained winds at the moment. And I am trying to figure out, looks like your tropical storm force winds to hurricane force winds, you can tell it's getting late, hurricane force gust is right in this area that I have circled. And also mouth of the Mississippi River, once again, mouth of the Mississippi River is where you're starting to really see some of the effects. I'll put this in motion. Take this off. Once again, the south and west side of that eye just can't get its act together. Too much dry air. Just too much dry air. That whole side's open. Absolute whole side is open. All right. One last look at the satellite. And I'm going to make this the infrared satellite. Back this up just a little bit. I want to look at the last 100 frames. I'm going to let this load up. We'll look at the last 100 frames, and you can see blowing up, looking good, then the ingestion of dry air, and tries to build up, but just can't. So right about now is the dry air, and then tries to fire up, keeps trying to fire up, and just can't do it because that dry air just chokes out any storms trying to build. I can tell you right now, Sally is trying her hardest, absolutely trying her hardest to ramp up, but that dry air absolutely just choking her out, her intensifying. Let's go to the mid layer still, and this is why you see right here, you see how discombobulated this is. Well, the eye's underneath here. You already see this dry air right here, pretty much open on the southwest side is pretty much open. It's because of all this dry air feeding into the system right now. So that's what we're seeing. Put this on loop. There's that dry air. Just keeps ingesting that dry air. And as long as Sally keeps ingesting that dry air, you're going to keep seeing this ragged look and no intensification. And that's a good thing. If Sally was to stay where she's at right now, maybe dissipate, maybe de-intensify, step down in intensification for a little bit, then it's still going to be a bad storm going in, but not as bad as it could be. Not as bad as what the hurricane models, your HWRF and your HMON, not as bad as they show. But they also let off with this dry air in their initiation run at midnight, and they showed eventually that dry air gets choked out. So the dry air gets blocked out, and she goes through intensification like she went through intensification at the first look at this run. So all this intensification back here, the hurricane models show that happening again basically tomorrow. But in order for her to do that, she's got to build that eye back in, which is right about here. She's got to build that eye back in. Take that back. Here's her eye right here. Until she can kick out all this dry air coming in, she's not going to intensify. She just can't. I mean, look at this. Here's your eye, right here, dry air, right here, dry air, right here, dry air. You got dry air that's infiltrated over here. And she just got dry air all along. That's half of her is surrounded by dry air. So she's just going to have to refortify her eye along this side right here. If she can fortify this area right here. then she can start that intensification phase again. But if she cannot fortify that, then she will not be able to intensify. So now it's just a wait and see. It is absolutely just a wait and see. If you take the long view of it, look at all this dry air out here. Maybe that's what keeps her from intensifying. Maybe that's what weakens her a little bit. We'll see. We'll absolutely see. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop streaming now. And I just want to say thank you very much for watching this stream. I will be back streaming tomorrow morning. When I wake up, we'll get a stream going on tomorrow morning about what's going on at that time. It's a little bright. There we go. We'll get a little stream going on tomorrow morning. We'll go over what has transpired from now until the end. We'll look at the latest model runs. We'll look at what the National Hurricane Center has at that point. But just a slight recap on what we've seen tonight. I started this off at 8. It's now 1 o'clock. So 5 hours of streaming. And since then, Sally has gone from really intensifying to she started ingesting dry air. And as soon as she started ingesting dry air, she leveled off in intensity. So she's still sustained at 100 miles per hour. Moving west-northwest, crawling at 3 miles per hour, according to the last run there. And she's just going to meander out in the Gulf for the next 30 hours. Where she's going to land right now, models are really zeroing in, and the National Hurricane Center is really zeroing in somewhere between Gulf Shores, Alabama, and Foley, Alabama, with Mobile Bay and Pascagoula, Mississippi, right there in the bullseye. So that's the area as of right now that models are really starting to hone in on. The National Hurricane Center has it going in right at Pascagoula and the Mississippi-Alabama border. Going in is a Category 2 hurricane at 105 miles per hour. Going in early Wednesday morning, somewhere between 4 and 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. That's from the National Hurricane Center. Seen a couple of models that still hold it out until like Wednesday afternoon and take it further east. But right now, the main bullseye is somewhere between Gulf Shores, Alabama, and Foley, Alabama. And that's the main target area. It's where the main focus of the models are at right now. And once again, National Hurricane Center has it going in at a Category 2, 105 miles per hour. The three main stories that will come out of this hurricane right now is, number one, the amount of rain that's going to be dropped. We're talking about areas getting 15 to 20 to 20 plus inches of rain. I am really looking at the Emerald coastline. It's already started raining. You've already got anywhere from 1 to 2 inches already up and down the Emerald coastline. And we're still 30 to 36 hours out from landfall, and it's still 72 hours out from it really stop raining. So the Emerald coastline, a lot of rain, okay? It will just continuously rain in waves for at least the next 30 hours, if not longer. So I'm really, really watching out for that. The second thing that's coming out is going to be the surge. It's spinning. So Sally out there spinning for 30 to 36 more hours. Just builds up and pushes more water in. So right now I'm looking, my main concern, Dauphin Island, Mobile Bay. Okay? Dauphin Island, because the surge will go over and around Dauphin Island to get into Mobile Bay. Once it gets into Mobile Bay, you're talking about somewhere between 6 and 10 feet of surge in Mobile Bay, and then it'll come back out, and when it comes back out, it goes right back out over Dauphin Island again. So what goes up, what goes into Mobile Bay must come out of Mobile Bay. So Dauphin Island kind of gets it coming in, and also will get it coming out. So I'm really concerned about when it comes to surge, Dauphin Island, Mobile Bay. It's my two main areas of concern. And then wind damage right now, wherever Sally lands, just to the east of landfall is where you can see consistently 105 mile per hour winds with gusts up to about 115. We saw what 130 could do in Lake Charles, and we're just talking about 15 miles below that in gusts. Okay, so all you have to do is go look at I can't remember right off the top of my head the city. It's Cameron, Louisiana. I'm sorry. So all you have to do is go look from Cameron, Louisiana, all the way up through Lake Charles. Look at that damage, and you're going to be just moving that to the east. You're talking about somewhere between, once again, Gulf Shores and Foley, and places in between. So Mobile Bay, moving up from Mobile Bay, moving up from Biloxi, moving up from Gulf Shores. Really going to have to watch this because if that's where the landfall is, just to the east is going to be the most amount of wind, the strongest wind, and it's going to do some damage. So wherever Sally lands, just to the east is where just to the east of landfalls. We're really going to have to watch it for both wind, surge, and then just the Emerald coastline, Mississippi, Alabama coastline, and further north. I named out some towns. You're talking about 15, 20, 25 inches of rain. Just a lot of rain. 72 hours worth of rain. And it's already started for Pensacola, for Fort Walton Beach, all the way down to Tampa Bay. So it's already started. You got 1 to 2 inches in some places. You know, on and off for the next 72 hours. More on than off. Especially around Pensacola, Destin, Mobile, Gulf Shores, and Biloxi. So that is my synopsis. That's what we've seen. It's what I've come up with. Just looking at all the models, looking at what the National Hurricane Center has said. And once again, I'm going to sign off for tonight. Definitely not making landfall tonight. We'll be back on tomorrow morning for a short time. We'll be back on tomorrow night, getting closer to landfall time. And thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you watching. We'll do this again tomorrow twice. And we will check and see what's going on at that point. So thank you very much.